Great, perfect. Great. There we go. All right, great. We will start again with the same thing. So I've been playing with one method of it, which is quite a nice one to kind of ease back into the training as well. But you just start basically with the head, so just feel the body, and just start with just gently coming up and down with the head, as if you're kind of being pulled up with the head, and just keep the rest of the body nice and relaxed. It's just nice and light, just working the vertical. So somewhere kind of around the ears, at the middle of the head. Just think about that, raising up. The rest of the body, just kind of keep it neutral. A couple of deep breaths in as you do it. Great, and then just slowly start to bring it up with the chest as well. So you've got the chest coming up a little bit. And just try and keep the rest of the body neutral. Great, and then just coming around the ribs, a little bit, mobilizing it up and down. Just think about lengthening up. And have the feeling you're kind of starting with the head, ribs, and then everything else starts to get pulled up. Head, chest, ribs, head, chest, ribs. Great, and then just mobilizing around the hips as well. And slowly pulling the body up out of the ground. Okay, and then just going down into the legs, starting to bring the toes into it as well. Just bringing the whole body up. Stretching right up into the toes. Great, and then if you like from here, you can just start to bring the body out of the ground as well. So you go into a kind of jump, keeping the knees nice and relaxed. And the key thing now is think about the length through the body, but also think about the weight entering the ground. So you've got everything relaxed, rebounding into the ground. Okay, and then just stepping the body, we'll just go to the head as well. So just again, starting from the head and the neck, just working into kind of front back. And play these two directions, you've got the kind of coming back over, curling down to the front. And also think about mobilizing front and back this way. So just play a little bit here, and you can make it kind of flexible. Let's play with mobilizing the neck. And again, try and keep the rest of the body nice and neutral to relax. So just listen to the effect of the head on the body as you kind of draw it forward and backwards out of the structure. So the weight of the head starts to kind of take the balance out to the front, into the back. Right, and then just bringing it again into the chest. Let the head go. Let the chest start to kind of open, relax, front and back. The shoulders kind of dragging with it as well. And just listening to the body in terms of the balance. Feel the weight kind of shifting in the feet. And again, just open out a little bit more, going down into the ribs. A bit bigger. Great, and then bringing the hips into it as well. So you've got the hinge back, hinging forwards. Great, and then just bringing the lower body into it as well. So you can, as you come back, you can also stretch up through the toes as well. And stretch it up. And coming back, you can also drop back into the heels. Just make it a little bit of a bigger movement. Just be careful going backwards against the spine. Keep it nice and flexible. Drop in the body back. Drop in the arms forwards. Great, and just going back into the center again. And then again, just going to the sides, work in the side direction. And again, just work with the head. So just keeping the rest body kind of light, neutral. And you can play a little bit here where you've got like that, bringing the ear down. You can also kind of bring the head a little bit, work in this direction. So you're kind of moving from the top of the head, or you're moving kind of from the jaw and the neck. You can just listen to that subtle weight shift in the head. Just listen to what it does in the rest of the structure. The arms and the feet, especially. And again, just make it a little bit bigger, bringing the chest into it. But mobilizing that area. As much as possible, try and keep the rest of it neutral again. Yeah, you can think of like a pendulum movement, or you can think of a kind of, you can think of that part of the structure kind of pulling out to the sides. Play with those kind of movements. Sit. Okay. Making a little bit bigger, bringing the ribs, stomach into it. Starting to go down into the hips, make it a little bit bigger. And again, to make it a little bit bigger, you bring in, getting the feet into it. So think about really, in this case, sinking into one side and lengthening out the other side, or releasing the other side from the ground. And if you want, you can play with this fully, like really bringing the leg out of the ground as well. So you're fully transferring the weight into one side of the body, or you can just keep the other leg down and just release it into the toes. Great, and then we'll take into the rotation. So again, just starting with the head, it's left and right. Just keeping the rest of the body neutral again in the middle. Okay, and then just start to bring the chest into it. So again, kind of move from the shoulders, this kind of area. Again, just keep the rest of the body neutral as possible. Don't take it as far as you kind of twist against the knees, but yeah, that's trying to open the body. Right, again, start with bringing the ribs into the movement. Right, and then into the hips. Try out the arms with some drop against the body. So swing. Again, just bringing the lower body into it. Just playing again now with releasing the back foot as well, so you get a kind of full rotation into it. Just be careful of the knees, but weight swing through. Just play with immobilizing the back leg. Good. Great, and then we can take it into this inside outside. So this is a kind of tricky one, but just think in this case about opening and closing from the top again. A little bit more curling the spine, opening the spine out. Great. And then again, taking it into the chest area. Think now again about opening and closing, especially the shoulders now and the chest. So you're really working on closed position, open position. Key thing to think about here is think about really moving from the inside out. So it's much more focused on inside to outside. Right, bring it into the chest a little bit, and the ribs. Great, and then start to take into the hips. Really let the hips flex now. So you're playing with, think about also really closing the hips. So you're kind of flexing and closing, flexing open into the back. Great, again, just taking it into the full body. Think about really closing down, open out to the back. And again, you can even play with the feet, the toes kind of coming out at the back, sinking down at the bottom. And try and keep that sense of an internal movement affecting the outside. So, and the last one, just play with moving the body free. And again, you can think about starting with the head, just drawing the body out, and the body follow. Or you can keep this kind of inside outside in a wave through the whole body. Set. Great. And then one thing, just play with this one, which is like going down in a corkscrew in a spiral. So you can do this any kind of way with it. And again, feel free to work the feet as well, but think about going from the top down into a kind of corkscrew, and really play with letting the body release down. If you're if the balance starts to go, just kind of make it small, but just play with the sense of dropping down and the whole body kind of corkscrewing in. So you're kind of sending the movement to all the limbs, both legs, both arms.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. That's it, great. Yeah.
And just trying, as you do it, keep the sense of the whole body as you do it. So you're trying to really track where all the limbs are, especially the arms. Sending them out. Yeah, just a few that.
Yeah, that's it. That's nice. Good.
Great. Okay, perfect. We're just going to the feet just a little bit, mobilizing, nice and loose. Side. Working the toes a little bit gently. Working the toes. Folding them forwards, pressing them back a little bit. Great, changing the side. Holding the ankle. Working the toes. Good, placing them down. Just think about now gripping the toes. You're kind of arching up through the foot. Really grip up. And then do the opposite. You're just going to think about spreading them out and down. So the feet are going to kind of, toes are going to open out. Press them down a little bit. And then again, arching up. Picking the toes up. And then spreading them down. Spreading the toes as much as you can. Great, and then here just raising the big toe up, keeping the other toes down. Sinking the big toe in, opening up, bringing the other toes off the ground. Great, and then just working the sides of the feet. Working the outside and then working the inside as well. Nice and gently. Be careful of the knees. Great, coming fully up onto the toes. Just holding at the top a little bit. Sinking back down to the heels. Great, and we're going to the knees. Yes, circling. A little bit front and back, stretching the back. Great, and then here just one for the hip, you're in the back position with the body slightly leaned over. Think about sinking one leg down, the hip down, and raising the other side out. So it's a kind of subtle stretch. And think about really moving from the hips as if the hip's dragging the foot off the ground. At the same time, really think about sinking the weight into the other side. Starting to activate the hip, hopefully. Sink down, draw up. Great, and then we'll take into the hips here. Nice big circles. Working both ways. A little bit twisting with the elbows. Right, and then get mobilizing the chest in circles. Be trying the ribs activated as well. And you can also play a little bit with a kind of figure of eight to kind of go inside the movement, inside through the middle and out. Great, take it to the shoulders. Nice big circles. Right, bring the arms out and then just think about it, rotating one side. So you're kind of getting pulled over one side. And you can also let the opposite side, if you're kind of working with the hands as well. One's going to go up, one's going to go down. You can play a little bit with it. The key thing's this idea of opening out the shoulders, stretching them out. That's it. Wow. That's it. Great, and then working with the elbows, working with circles, keeping them down. Okay, the mobility into the elbows. You can work both ways with it. You can work one the other way or one the other way. Just play with it a little bit. Keep the elbows nice and heavy. Mobilize through the forearm. And then just shaking the wrists out. Shake them this way. Just trying to get all the angles for the movement. Shake them up and down here. Shake them up to the sides a little bit. Great, and then winding them in circles. And splaying the fingers at the top of the movement. Again, working both ways with it. And again, you can work one way, the other way with one side. So you can work them both the same way. Great, and then just spreading out the fingers nice and fast. That's it. Good. Making fists. So just play with the position of the arms as well, bringing it close to the body, a little bit further out. Rotating the arms out as well. Okay, last one is like you work out from the side. You're going to stretch them out, close them, and then go a little bit higher up. So you close, open, and just work your way up to the top. So you're really spreading them out to the top. Keep the center of the shoulders kind of low. Go right to the top, and just work your way back out, back down. Spreading tightly.
Yeah, that's it.
Way out. Great. And then from here, just pressing the palms out, right to the sides. Be spreading the palms away from each other. If you can, spreading the fingers out and back towards the body, towards the ears. Great. Making fist pressing out through the back of the hand. Curling the fingers towards the armpits. Great. And then again, shaking them out. Taking it to the top. Bring the movement now into the shoulders as well. And a little bit out. Work the whole arm, shoulder, elbow, wrists, fingers. Try and get everything just open. Great. Drop it low, working with circles. Shaking the legs out. Again, try and get the whole limb kind of loose. From the hip to the knee, to the ankle, out the toes. Great. Feet down and just shaking the whole body out. And just making the movement smaller and smaller. So you've got a really, really tiny movement and you're basically standing still. Just let the weight settle just a moment. All right, great. We will do some walking today. Okay, take it nice and easy, just working with the shoulder width apart. Nice light grip on the sword, and just think about going up to the back, be keeping the spine nice and long, and then really think now about hinging from the hips. So nice long spine, keeping the length as you drop down. We're allowing the movement to come right from the hip. Yeah, great. Okay, just play here with the shoulders. So it's just a kind of exercise to check the kind of openness for it, and also the position of the spine in it, and play with doing it wrong as well, so you get a really feel for it. So work with the top position. You just want to just play with it. You've got the position. Just play a little bit with the shoulders so that you can kind of open them. You should feel kind of freedom in the shoulders. And then just notice if you do, for example, something like this in the back, you'll notice the shoulders probably kind of lock. It kind of limits that range of the movement in the shoulders. So you want to think about the spine being neutral and think about freedom in the joints. You can also play with the knees a little bit, but the key point for us, or the kind of important point, is the shoulder. So just play with the position of the spine here and the feeling in the shoulders. They should be, you should feel a kind of free to move. And the same as you drop down, just play here, especially with the position of the spine here, or the balance. If you go into this kind of position, you're going to feel the shoulders probably start to lock. Kind of automatically, the body's going to go into this holding position. So just think about at the bottom, that sense of the spine being free, extended, and hopefully it puts the shoulders in a position where you can really feel them kind of free and open. So there's no sense of loading the shoulders. Just play with those two positions. Drop back, drop in. Just want to maintain that sense of freedom in the shoulder all the time. And again, do it wrong so that you've got a real kind of check on. Bad there. Bad kind of there. Lock up the body there. Good. Right. Okay, we'll work on another idea here. Think about now swinging the arms through. So there's a tendency, I think it comes also from the way we're kind of cutting and doing this. So there's a tendency in the movement to kind of activate this kind of movement where you're kind of pushing and pulling with the sword, pulling up with the sword. So which tends to kind of go into this kind of movement, like adding force down and up with the arms. Just think about now you've got that motion from keeping the shoulders free, that the arms just swing down and open. So you're just thinking really primarily about down. So you can play with this kind of swinging the sword straight down, or you can play with gently drawing it down, and it just kind of slots into the ground. You don't, again, just play with, you can play with this doing it wrong, or the kind of, the one that you'll feel the body kind of lock up, or for me, especially is like if you start to kind of pull up and down on the shoulders, or on the hands, that kind of movement. Which kind of translates later into this, where it's like pushing the sword out, throwing the sword away from the body. So this is basically just getting the sense of dropping and draining down. Dropping and draining down. So, Great. Okay, next one. This now is about the kind of settling in the hips. So what you just play with now is the sense of, again, you've got that kind of movement. And then every so often just play with slotting the sword into the movement. So again, you don't try and avoid in this case the sense of adding power in too early. Just the sense it's like every so often there's a ledge in front of you and the sword just kind of stop in this kind of area. So you just want again that sense the hips are engaging, dropping the sword in, and just play with it, sometimes swinging through, place it, swing, place. Great, one more. So this time you're going to work just on the focus. So play now with you. You're just going to play in this kind of area. So not coming up with the shoulders, with the arms. You just play in this kind of area. Let it go, and gently just start to bring in the focus into the hands. So again, the key thing here is really think about the hips, the center. The tendency now, especially, is because we're kind of activating the hands, is to start to bring the hands first, but really think about the hips hitting the ground, and then the hands fix onto the sword. That's it. Nice. Oh yeah, there's a big tendency now, I do it as well, is to look at the hands, is to watch the hands. Now, again, play with this, especially just play with it kind of, for me especially, if I look at the hands, the tendency is for the neck to kind of collapse into this kind of position, which throws this kind of stacking of the body out. So you start to go into this kind of position. And then what happens is the hands do this even more. So you start to go into this kind of tense position. So think about the eyes just resting in front of the. It's easier if you've got a bigger horizon. If you've got a window, so stare out of the window, but have the sense of looking out. So the hands are really in the periphery, right at the bottom. And keep that sense of the length through the spine. And just let the hands do what they want. You can also practice looking everywhere else but the hands. It's also a good one to do. That's it. Very good. Nice. Yeah.
Sorry guys, I was late. I have to leave early. Happy New Year and see you all later.
See
Bye.
you soon. Yeah, good. Yeah, good. Yeah, and then just see if you can find this. It really comes from the kind of bringing the center and the hands together. See if you can sense the kind of reverb as you find this, also in the center. So the center of you'll find if you do this like really tensing, then you'll either block it or the arms will kind of jerk out. So think of the same time as it's the same thing of the down and the out. So that you want that sense of the impact, hit the ground, hit the ground, hit the ground. And you should get, if the spine's kind of long, you have a sense not only of this kind of you get a sense of a kind of rebound up through the body. So you got a boom, a little bit up, a little bit up, nice and subtle. And again, play with doing it wrong, so you've got to really, something like that will just take the body out. So any kind of rigidity in the structure will kind of block it. It's a bit like if you think about hitting a nail with a hammer, you want to kind of boom straight into it rather than like that. So you want us to have the sense of the impact to really enter the ground. Back. There. That's it. Yeah, good. So. Nice. Yeah, really good. Great. We will go into the first 𝒂𝒏𝒈. So you just want to take the foot forward. Really practice now. You're obviously practicing with the legs. Bring all those points into it. And feel free to play with kind of swinging it through as well. But really play now with drawing back, keeping the shoulders low. The key thing now is a sense of a line right through the back of the body, all the way into the foot. And then keeping that length engaging into the combine. So you really want to kind of make a line of the body, like a column, and drop into the hand meet. Swing through, or you can just place it. So. Nice. Just going to a point with the legs. So when you do this thing, sometimes we go about going into like 99% of the weight in the back leg and then into 50-50. And one of the problems with that is that you go into 99, and then I think about shifting the weight to the front and then the back settles. Think as you do this, as you go into like 99% here, think that as you go back, you're going to keep it and anchor the back hip. So you want the back hip to flex, but you don't want the sense that the weight's going to get thrown forwards and backwards with it. So think about the weight settling in the back hip, settling in the back hip all the time. So it's just really think about the back leg as like an anchor for the movement. And the first 𝒂𝒏𝒈 is really great for this because the foot doesn't move. Really practice just settling the weight down. Again, the key thing is keeping the ankle, knees, hip, everything's kind of free, but with a sense of weight, with a heaviness to it. Great. And then just bring the awareness into the front hip. So you want now a sense of the, obviously entering into the hammy, but having a sense that it's like the front hip's kind of cutting into the movement. Cutting in. So you want that sense of the hip projecting in forwards. Projecting in forward. And because you're entering the triangle, the body's going to enter into a little bit of a slight rotation with the hip. So just allow that to happen. Just a very slight opening of the hips. Yeah, great. Good. And just one really simple exercise from it. This is again about this kind of neutrality in the spine. So you do the same, find the cut, and then from here, just or actually go from this position, just walk out of it. So you just want to sense that you're just kind of walking out of that position. So, and again, do it badly. You'll notice, especially if I go into these kind of positions, any kind of movement out, I've got to do a lot of resetting the body, pulling out, or I do it really unbalanced. So try and walk out of it as balanced as possible, or as in a kind of well-balanced position as possible. And the key in this kind of area is that sense of the spine, the hips are active, but the spine's actually quite neutral. And then from here, you should be able to just walk out of it relatively easy. Just by, you can walk out any way you like. You can also come back. You should kind of feel free in the feet to be able to move the body. That's great, great. Okay. We'll just finish a little bit, just cutting through you. So keep that same sense, starting with the first suburi. Keep that sense of them being neutral in the spine, and then just play with the second movement from it. It can be anything. It can be a cut on the left side. It can be a ski. Just reset every time. You've got a nice, clean posture, really using the back, finding the ground, and then just find a second move out of nice and smooth. We can go into a Zengo any way you like. Yeah, and the key thing again is the same with the walking out. So just watch for there's always going to be this. It's always going to be the case, but there's usually a sense of loading the movement and then doing it, then kind of acting on it. So just think about here. I'm going to, for example, like a yokuin. There's a sense that I load it and then I do the movement. So you want to kind of seamlessly draw the movements closer together. So, and again, it's really usually about a neutral spine. So I've got an idea of what I'm going to do, and the body starts kind of pull into it before it's kind of ready. So just really get that sense of, again, the spine's nice and neutral, and again, the shoulders should feel free to, so that you can just pass the body into the movement. It's usually something in the feet or something in the spine, but again, just keep that sense of a kind of neutrality to it. Before you go, just check the spine, check the body, check the bands, and then you want a nice seamless movement into the next cut. Great, and then whatever kind of combination you're doing, just play with now taking it to a little bit more of a flexible position. So you want to now feel that you're working off that impulse into from the first strike. And again, the key, the hips being engaged, and then firing into the next movement. So you can keep in all that kind of movement seamless. Just play with the sense now you've got the impulse taking you into the next one. Great. Okay, perfect. Let's stop that there. Okay, perfect. Great. どうもありがとうございました。
どうもありがとうございました。
Thank you very much. Good to be back.